Good morning, everybody. Betting for breakfast, powered by the Sharp app. If you haven't downloaded the app yet, go out and do that now. I'm Mark Drumheller. I'm here with Dave Gleckner. Team Red today. We're like Tiger on Sunday, sporting our red. Dave's rocking his Phillies, getting gassed up after one win. But listen, we are here to talk about the NBA Finals. We're going to hit on baseball in a little bit. Dave's got some plays. Wonder if he's giving it away with his attire. But let's start off with the NBA Finals. Game one took me by surprise. I was on Golden State. It kind of threw off how I was going to bet the entire series, Dave. Golden State came out, was doing their thing. Dub Nation in the Bay. Shots are going in. Steph Curry hitting from distance, dropping back, doing whatever he wants. And then we saw Boston make some adjustments, right? Ime makes some adjustments. In the fourth quarter, we saw them switch on the pick and roll a lot more. They cranked that up from like 18% to 29%. You saw them go after Curry on the defensive end. That was causing Golden State a lot of problems. Boston's physicality causing them a lot of problems. And I think it was 40-16 in the fourth quarter. Boston storms back, blows them out, and takes game one.
Look. All right, you can say adjustments, but when you go 9 for 9 from 3 in the fourth quarter, I think it was a little bit of ball falling in the bucket too. No, they did attack Golden State differently. I for my money, I thought Golden State got complacent. I mean, Draymond even said after the game, he's like, we were dominating for 41, 42 minutes. Well, that's the wrong mindset. Like, if that's your mindset, you're in a lot of trouble in this series because that's a Boston team that will never die. We've seen it too many times. Down 3-2 in Milwaukee, wins that game. Down going to game 7 on the road in Miami, wins that game. This team is battle-tested, battle-ready. Now, we know this is going to go long, but game one, you're right, it kind of readjusted the way. I liked Boston in the series, and I have a little bit of money on them from futures to win it all, but I didn't bet the series because I was anticipating them losing game one, then pouncing on the number in game 2. Now I got to sit back and think about this one. I'm not ready to hedge on Golden State, even with a better number now. Boston's favored in the series, but I can tell you this much. It's definitely really made me reconsider how I'm going to attack the rest of the series.
Yeah, I think we're in the same spot there. And that was kind of my method. I did the same thing the previous series, against the Heat. And I'm like, I'm going to wait for game one. It's a bad spot for them. Boston loses game one, then I'm going to come back and bet them to win the series. Didn't happen. Do have Boston's future to win the title. Small, it's like plus 375 or whatever. It's not, anything crazy. But I was late to the party, but I still had to make myself a plate before I got up out of there. So, we are invested there. I have a position on the Celtics to win the series. And I like their chances now. I think it was really, that was Golden State's path to winning. And Dave, when we talked about this last week, just speaking about the structure of the series and how it could play out and how the leverage can go back and forth from each team, I liked Boston coming in. I thought they matched up with Golden State well, but I was a little concerned about them losing game one and then having to win 4 or 6 games. And would they have, the stamina in their gas tank after all these wars against Miami, against Milwaukee, against, Brooklyn in round one, even though that was a sweep. Like Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are no easy task, even though they made quick work of them. So I was concerned about I really like Boston, but I don't know if it's a fair fight because they're going to drop game one and then they got to win 4 or 6. Now the shoe's reversed, right? Now Golden State has to win 4 of 6 against a team that I think matches up great with them. Like, one of the main takeaways I had from that game, Dave, and we'll talk about game 2 in a little bit, was just that how Boston's length and athleticism on the wing seemed to cause Golden State problems, towards the end of the game in the second half with their off-ball movement. And that's the same thing that Golden State, if you look back at when they struggled against Memphis, didn't matter that Ja Morant wasn't there. It was the length and the athleticism of Memphis's wing players that gave them trouble. And I think we're seeing it again already early in this series.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you. It's just that they cooked almost 100 points before the fourth quarter. And so, yeah, the last few, I just felt like indecisiveness, though, to me, too. It's weird with Golden State. It seemed like, if they couldn't get Steph Curry, the trap up top, I think, really unsettled everything. They just felt like they were trying to get him a 3. No matter what, and nobody wanted to take the shot. And when they did, yes, the length was closing out and did affect the shot. Really, I was impressed with Golden State and how they played defense on Tatum. And that's what probably concerns me if you're a Golden State fan. Tatum did nothing, and they still won, right?
Yeah, Brown either.
And are they going to shoot 55% from three? Probably not again. Is Horford going to be that lights out? Probably not again. But you know what? It is a little bit troubling if that's the best defense they could throw at Boston. Boston hangs 120 on you. So it's I'm with you. I think Boston gives them a lot of challenges that are similar to what Memphis does. But we've been calling it all from the start, Drums, and you got to give us some credit. We were not as high on Golden State as a lot of people were.
Right. Yep.
We were not handing them the title. They got an easy path. If you've watched this show for the past 2 months, you've understood that, yes, we've respected Golden State, but they are not these giant killers of 2016 when they were on that run. This is a nice team, a deep team. And they're going to have to win with more than just Steph Curry. And in game one, they tried to win with just Steph Curry. And I think that really is what hurt them. And you saw it. They were trying to feed them at the end.
Yeah, but they don't have any other shooters. Like, that's the thing. Like, I think it's about lineups. Like, we saw Boston go small, right? We saw them go with Horford and Derek White on the floor with Smart, Tatum, Brown, right? They went small. And I don't know, maybe it comes into who can go smaller, right? But, when Golden State is rolling Draymond out there with Looney, like, those guys are just sitting on the perimeter. Their whole function on offense is to shovel passes to Steph Curry. Like, that's all they do, and get long rebounds. Like, that's the whole thing. So if Steph Curry can't create his own shot because Boston has enough athleticism on the wing to kind of give him trouble, they don't have an offense. Like, Jordan Poole is just going to get smashed this series. Like, he's physically not going to be able to compete, I think, against
that's the
Boston.
problem. Like, he should be that other guy. So should Clay. They might even have to roll out Porter a little bit more and some Kuminga. But the deal is, Poole's going to kill them on defense. He's a matador. Here's a like, go ahead, Jalen.
Yeah.
Here's the red.
Well,
just go.
Yeah, and that's an excellent point because, you talked about Tatum and you're like, hey, you know what? They held, Boston was able to score even, without Tatum. They bottled Tatum up a little bit. But, I think what we're seeing is Ime's message finally getting through. Like, you're seeing the fruits of what he's been preaching all year, right? So Tatum, 13 dimes. Boston scored 35 points on those dimes. Granted, the shots fell, right? I get it. The shots aren't always going to fall for Horford. They aren't always going to fall for Derek White. But going back to your other point, if those guys like Derek White and Marcus Smart can consistently get dribble penetration, they're not going to have to fall for them because anybody on that the 5 players that they put out on that floor in that small lineup can create offense. So, so that puts Golden State in a spot that where, having Curry on the floor, having Poole on the floor, they got no chance because those kicks are now going to be going if Smart and it can penetrate, and if Derek White can penetrate off the dribble because they're rolling Poole out there or whoever, then they're going to be kicking out the Tatum and Brown, and those shots are going to eventually fall, right? Brown's not going to go 2 for 8 again from 3. Tatum's not going to shoot 3 for 17. So that's kind of the rub that Golden State's, I think they're in a bad spot. Like, I think they have to make, and going back to the post game, press conference with Draymond just being like, oh, well, they're not going to shoot like that again. They're not going to have to because, that's kind of the point. Like, I think Curry really needs to make adjustments. Like, they have to figure something out from a lineup perspective to deal with this smaller lineup from Boston.
I agree. And I will say this much. I've been so big on talking about giving games away in this postseason. Memphis gave away too many. Dallas gave away game 2 against Golden State. These teams couldn't rebound when you give those types of games away. I'm worried that game 1 will come back and haunt Golden State. You just can't. You can't be up 12 going in the fourth quarter, and then somehow, some way lose that big. It's going to haunt them. Now, here's the flip side of the coin. Boston doesn't put anyone away either, right? So this one's going to get stretched out, and we know it. And Golden State's going to win in Boston. Boston's 8-2 on the road, a little bit worse at home. I forget the exact numbers, but we've seen them lose, I think, 4 games at home total. So. It's going to get tighter, but it's got to start Sunday because if it doesn't, 2-0 might be – it is too big for them to get out of, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. My guy Greg from Yahoo Sportsbook, check him out. Puts out incredible work over there at Yahoo Sportsbook. Says Golden State only contested 3 of Boston's 41 3-point attempts, and not a good average, man.
I remember one. They
They
did.
got to close out, man.
Yeah, but
You know,
Steph was in Derek White's face, and he just drained it right in his face.
drained it anyway. Yeah.
There was no night. I didn't see any night.
No, that's right. Yeah,
Night. Oh,
dude, I think it was night for Golden State. To be honest, with
yeah,
you.
I would have done that if I was Derek White, right back at him.
I think they are. I mean, listen. We know, like, I don't like the team. I don't like how they carried themselves through this postseason. I thought they were very fortunate to be where they are, but you know, Boston's not going to steamroll over this team anyway.
No.
So let's talk about game 2 before we move on and get some baseball bets. I know Daryl's in the comments. He's piping. He's got a nice parlay lined up we're going to talk about. So baseball coming right after this. We're going to talk about game 2. 4-point line and climbing 4.5 at some spots. The Celtics getting the points here, plus 145, plus 155 on the money line. And we have an over-under of 215.5. Total, lines are pretty tight here, I think, with the total. I think this comes down to whether you think, Golden State can do what everybody expected them to do and what they did in the first 3 quarters in game 2. And to me, the answer is adjustments. Like, what kind of adjustments do you think Golden State can make if you're going to lay 4 points to this Celtics team after outscoring them 40-16 in the third quarter and seeing the way Golden State played defense? You're going to have to be banking on some type of adjustment from Golden State, correct?
You have to. And so if I think there's some adjustment, I think it's going to really affect the total more than maybe the game score. I would lean under. I think Golden State's got to play a little bit different here. Like, already mentioned earlier by Greg that the contested threes, Boston put up 41. Are we going to see them go 21-41 again? Probably not, right? But I think
maybe if they don't cover them.
Well, if they don't cover them, which means I think we are going to see a little more closeouts. We're going to see a little bit more switching and gambling. I just think it brings, both teams shot the ball pretty well last game. Even Golden State hit 19 threes, went 42%. So I think if you bring that down a little bit, a couple misses, we are looking more towards the under in this game, a little tighter, low scoring, not low scoring, but 1 in the 100. So that's where I think the adjustments might affect the line the most. In the end, look, it's championship basketball. If the Warriors are what they thought they were 3 years ago and think they still are now, this is a game they respond. I would lean towards them to cover this number as well. I just think we've seen a couple games like this where Boston has, did what they needed to do, get the one and run. And that's what I'm feeling a Golden State and under in game 2 here. I'm not super confident in the line, feel better about the total.
Yeah, if they're the team from 3-4 years ago, they need to call up. Can I get Klay Thompson from 3-4 years ago?
And hey, while you're on that, what the hell is Andre Iguodala playing critical minutes in the fourth quarter?
Yeah.
I haven't seen him
we
at
love
all
him.
in the playoffs.
Tremendous career.
I saw this bald spot running around. I was like, no, this cat's running out there. He was getting major minutes in the fourth. I knew he went like 2 of 2 in the first 3 quarters.
Yeah.
But what the hell?
They blow right by him. He was like, "Oh, that whippersnapper."
Give me a coach's shirt.
Yeah. But no, I love Iggy, man. Listen, being from Philadelphia, always rooted for that dude. Tremendous career. Not going to make a difference in this series. If he's the solution, Golden State is in trouble. And it's a must-win game for Golden State, which is why I'm probably just going to sit back and this is going to be a pass for me. It's going to be a no bet this game, Dave, because I already have the position on the Celtics to win the title. I don't need to take them here in a spot where it's a must-win for a Golden State team at home, and I don't have any confidence in Golden State laying that number.
I don't necessarily blame you, but and you're like me, you might even have a bigger side on Celtics winning it all. But
Dave's like, I'm going to fire it up anyway.
Yeah, I'm still firing. It's a Sunday night. I can't wait to bet some basketball. I am going to look for someone else, and when closer to game time, I'm going to look for someone else to hit the over prop on Golden State. It can't be all Steph. They got to find someone else. So I'm going to have. I wouldn't be surprised if they even rolled out Poole in the starting lineup. I know they need depth on the bench, but they got to do something different. They really do.
Yeah, they got to change it up. They got to change it up for sure. Real quick, before we get on to the baseball stuff, Dave, I want to talk about the MVP. Now, I have a little bit of Marcus Smart at 45-1, But what do we think? Like, if Boston is able to win this series, how do we see the MVP playing out? Any spots you think we need to hit on, like right now?
I think Tatum is still in play, right? I think he just had
Hmm.
one of his. We've seen him do this before, and his odds have definitely changed a little bit in that game. I think he's still in play because look, that's the second one. I would lean towards his Brown, but when you think Smart, I just don't think he had enough of game one, and I haven't seen him. I mean, he was good, but he had a couple. He wasn't even playing at the start of the fourth. They didn't bring him in until like 5 minutes left because they were rolling. I get it. Yeah, I would lean towards the top
Yeah.
two in
Well, I
Boston,
had
getting
him.
some
I
of
mean,
their
I
odds.
got him. He's like 16-1 now. I got him at 45-1 before the series started. So it
Okay.
wasn't like a reaction to game one. Like, it was more of a, hey, I'm already in this. Like, before the series started, I thought it was a good enough number. I'm like, if they can win, and Curry has a poor series, then obviously he would get that luck being defensive player of the year.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm with you. And his odds only went down mainly because they won, right? So now Boston
Yeah.
has a chance to win. They went down to what market should be. Okay, yeah, I hear you on that one, but I still think the top two in Boston has some value. I look, it's going to be Curry no matter what if Golden State wins, just because the way they're trying to play their game. I don't like it. I don't know if that's winning basketball, but that's what they're going to try.
We'll see if it works. We'll see if it works, but definitely going to be a fun series. Not a ton of value on the board for game two, but Dave's going to hit the total, and we're going to regroup and nail game three. But liking how the Celtics are looking so far, very pleased with game one, even though I was on the wrong side with Golden State. Be happy to cash the bigger number at the end of this series if Boston does indeed get the title. But let's move on to the Diamond, Dave. I know you got some plays lined up for today. MLB action. What do we got? We got bets. We got DFS. What do we got cooking in the kitchen?
We'll go full game bets here. And let me just start off by saying thank you, Phillies. I can watch baseball again now that the guy that was leading that team and just creating an atmosphere that was not, conducive to winning is gone. Now, look, it's on the players now, and it should have been on the players all along, but they needed to open this up and now make it more of a players team like Charlie Manuel did back in the day. So Joe Girardi, you already saw them loosen up last night. Now, I know it's the Angels and they lost 8 straight, but it's nice to get some baseball back here in Philly. Here's what I'll do. I love 2 games. Daryl has asked a question, and I'll give you an answer on 2 of those as well. My favorite one, probably going in here, are the Pittsburgh Pirates over the Diamondbacks. We're going to get some really good value here because nobody knows what Yoanzi Contreras is. Young Pirates pitcher started in the bullpen this year. They sent him back down the minors just to stretch him out. In his last 2 starts, he's got 83, 84 pitches down there. Now they bring him up as a starter. He's done pretty good down there. 24 Ks in 20 innings, like that over the 9K per game mark, and then a 2.66 ERA. So he's coming up with definitely he's one of their prize prospects, obviously. And the market doesn't really know how to settle on these guys because one of his big red flags is 11 walks. So 11 walks is 20 innings, does throw up a flag. So they don't know how that's going to translate to the majors. But we're getting a situation here where I'm seeing a lot of sites push them at 60, 65% win rate, and we're only minus 130. And that tells you right there, we got a really good number that we can attack if you have that high of a win rate. Zach Davies, on the other hand, definitely hittable. So I like the Pirates in that one, 4 o'clock today. Keep an eye on that. The other one I do like, and Daryl, you put it out there in another piece here, and I'll answer these, the Reds. I do like the Reds today. I think that's a good number against the Nationals. You ask about this Phillies, I would put them in a parlay. Zach Wheeler, just one pitcher of the month in May. Going tonight, I think, the Angels are just lost. They're completely lost right now. And I think that it might be too much for Trout to come back here and play in front. Everybody wants him to do well. And it's just a lot of pressure. They need to get out of here and get back home. And they might get out of here by getting swept because they're not playing well. So I do like the Phillies. I do like the Yankees today as well. The run line, I would lean more because minus 320 is way too much for me to pay for anyone. But one other bet to consider with the Yankees, and you can get it down near the run line number, is that the Yankees don't bat in the bottom of the 9th. It's a nice little bet you'll see on Caesars and DraftKings. I think I saw it 270. So you throw that in there, that might not be bad. The one I'm going to disagree on is the Rays. I love Dylan Cease today. The Chicago White Sox pitcher, strong fastball, strong knuckle curve. Tampa's 3rd worst in the league against the fastball. I think he gets high Ks today. I like the White Sox a little bit as a dog today against Rasmussen. And then your others, I think you got good picks there. Padres too. I do like that. Two lefties going with Ashby today. San Diego hits lefties well, especially Machado. He's up over 400. So my picks to recap: I like the Pirates. I like the Reds. I like the White Sox as a dog.
Pirates, Reds, White Sox as dog. Got to have a dog in there. Our guy Shady checking in, man. He says no manager can save that bullpen. He don't mess around. He's not going to pull any punches.
We don't. We're going 9 innings every game.
That's right. We might have to. Shady, my guy. UFC fights tonight. Listen, all my UFC plays exclusive on the Sharp app, guys. Download the app, get in the Discord, be a part of the community. That's the way that you're going to get them. Only have three plays and a parlay. I am on the opposite side. We're op on a couple there, Shady. So one of us are going to end up winners, but some of them we see the same, some of them we see op. So usually when that happens, we both end up splitting and end up beating up the book. So can't wait for the UFC fights today. A little bit of an early start, but I'm going to close things out, Dave, with some USFL. 2 exclusive plays on the Sharp app for tomorrow's game. So I'm going to give out a free play right here. The big game, the game of the season, pretty much is possibly the 2 best teams. You can throw New Jersey in that mix, but the Birmingham Stallions taking on the New Orleans Breakers. This line has moved down towards New Orleans. New Orleans, the dog here, getting 2.5 and 3 in some spots. I got them at 3.5. I played some money line. I'm on the dog here, and I'm going to tell you a little bit why. There's a couple different factors, right? Birmingham has already clinched the playoff spot. How is that going to affect them? It's hard to tell. Do they want to keep momentum? Do they want to play undefeated? Play to be undefeated throughout the season, or are they worried about injuries? Do they pull some key players? The wide receiving core very banged up, right? Bolden, Marlon's out. Like, they got a ton of guys that are just banged up on the wide receiving core. They had Alex Magoo running routes last week. So that's going to be a challenge for them. Rest versus rust, that decision. So anyway, they're playing a New Orleans team. When these teams played in week 3, Birmingham won 22-13. They won turnovers 3-1. The Breakers fumbled at the 1-yard line. Getting ready to go in. Sloter was doing like the quarterback sneak, and he ended up fumbling the ball before it went in. Game was a lot closer than the 9-point margin of victory. I think these 2 teams are pretty close. We talked about the tiers. I think New Jersey, New Orleans, Birmingham are all pretty tight there at the top, despite there being a little bit separation, with Birmingham being undefeated and with Jersey having a loss and New Orleans having 2 losses. But I think they're going to be competitive today. I like them. Jamar Smith, right? Birmingham quarterback, played awful last week against Pittsburgh, against the worst team in the USFL. So I think he completed like 30% of his passes. The past 2 weeks, he's been struggling. So, that Birmingham offense has been relying a lot on Bo Scarborough. Are they going to be able to win if they're one-dimensional against this New Orleans defense? I don't think so. Smith struggled when he played New Orleans in that first game in week 3. So I think that they're not going to have the offensive success that we saw earlier in the season against New Orleans. So I think all those factors give us a live dog here. Now, I got it at 3 and 3.5. Don't worry about it. 2.5, 3 is fine. Key numbers in the USFL: 0 games have landed on 2 or 3. So don't worry about it. Games haven't landed. Teams haven't won by 2 points. Teams haven't won by 3 points all season. 1 and 4 they have. So don't worry about it. The difference between getting 3 and 2.5, it shouldn't matter that much. I like New Orleans. I took a little bit on the money line. I think they'll play today. I think Birmingham gets their first loss and then kind of, gets back on track next week against Tampa Bay before they head to the playoffs.
I like it. Remember I asked last week, does Birmingham have that edge right now when they played Pittsburgh? I did take some Pittsburgh money. We got the cover, the look ahead a little bit. And today was the day, right? Is it today? It sounds like you think it is.
I think it is. Yeah, I like them. I like New Orleans to win this one outright. I really do. Yeah. I think that the game means more to them. And I think that they're, pretty explosive on offense. Their biggest problem is, and it's kind of like a theme, and that hurt me a little earlier in the season because they had the game like Birmingham where they gave up 3 turnovers and, but they shoot themselves in the foot a little bit. Like, they're a little bit destructive. I think on paper they might be the most talented team in the league, but they're turnovers, dumb penalties, and dumb spots, like, doing crazy stuff, man. Not the most disciplined team Larry Fedora is running out there, but a ton of talent. And I think they can go blow for blow with Birmingham today, especially like Birmingham kind of limping down the stretch here.
Yeah, and let me give you one that I'm leaning towards, and you don't have to answer if it's one of your plays on there, but I'm leaning towards Michigan today, the Panthers over the Stars. Panthers getting 5.5. My concern here is solely with what are the Panthers going to do? And they're going to run the ball, and they're second in the USFL in running the rushing attack. Who's the worst? Stars, right?
The Stars, yep, absolutely.
And so I think it's a matchup. Now, the only concern I have, how much more does Michigan have to play for? Looks like they're out of it. Philadelphia playing for a playoff spot, but here it is. They played into overtime last week against New Orleans, I think it was, right? Michigan did. So it seems like since that switch at quarterback, since a little bit of changes, they're not ready to give up. So as long as I see a team that still has some fight and has a good matchup against the Stars today, I think they're live dogs at 5.5. This is my lean in the USFL. I lean Michigan today, plus the 5.5 against Philly. Philly had a big win last week, too, against Tampa. They're rolling a little bit, but I still see some issues at that quarterback position with the injuries, and I'm just not sure they're fully healthy right now. I think they're doing it with a little smoke and mirrors.
They won 2 straight, right? They won 2 straight, and Michigan's lost a ton in a row. I mean, I think 3 straight, I want to say. Yeah. But again, like you said, we don't see Michigan giving up. And I think that's kind of like a key thing when you look at it. And Michigan at 1-6, still alive in the playoff hunt, right? If they can win these last 3 games, and if the Stars lose their last 3 games, then, it comes down to the tiebreaker. They're still in the hunt. I'm not sure, I think we'll have to wait till the end of the season to see how the tiebreakers turn out. But anyway, mathematically, Michigan's still alive. Right. Michigan's still fighting. And, from the other perspective, the Stars can clinch if they win, right? So if they win, they clinch the spot and Michigan's out. So 2 motivated teams we talked about last week is now the teams are clinching. Motivation could, come into a factor. We saw New Jersey roll last night against Pittsburgh, despite clinching a playoff spot. So, how these teams approach this will be, tailored to each specific team and how the coach decides to, the whole rest versus rust thing. But we're going to get 2 motivated people. I think that game is tomorrow. I think the New Orleans
tomorrow,
game is the only one today. Yep. So we got 2 games tomorrow on Sunday. But they're going to be good ones. So excited for the USFL to wind down the stretch. Glad that we were able to get through the season. They're selling the playoff tickets. I think they're hosted it in Canton, but the Hall of Fame field or whatever, they do that stuff there. So it'll be cool. It'll be cool wrap up to the season. But I like it. But New Orleans today, the free play, take New Orleans, take some money line. Our guy Shady checking in, killing it in JV football. Mark, yeah, dude, I'm trying to hit the small markets, brother. Like I don't want to, these NBA lines are tight, man. I'll take the lines that the intern's setting over at the USFL. I'll dig into him and fight him every week. But we're smashing it, man. So I like it. A small league, you can pull the data real quick. You can be on top of everything that happens. So we're going to try and squeeze a couple more dollars out of the end of the year before it goes away. But listen, everybody, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. We will be back again next week. NBA finals, I'm sure will be still going on. They take like 3 or 4 days off before every game. So they're stretching it out. So we'll be back here to talk about it. But good luck, everybody. Cash your bets. Let's make some money, and we'll see you next week.